Sahanau bhunaktu Saha viryankaravavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, one of the principal Upanishads, the biggest Upanishad. That is why it is called as Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Yajnavalkya is the Rishi there. Yajnavalkya is a householder who renounces the household ashrama, the Grihastha ashrama, and he is moving to Sannyasa ashrama in search of the self. He is pursuing Brahman. So at that time, his wife Maitreyi, to whom he had, to other wife and Maitreyi also, he shares his properties and he wants to leave. So Maitreyi humbly, politely requests him that if you are leaving this and going somewhere else, I know that that thing must be sweeter. That thing is more valuable. So you cannot deny me that. I want to also know what it is, learn what it is. And therefore, there is a conversation between Yajnavalkya and Maitreyi, and that forms the essential aspect of the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, where as a husband, he is the guru, and as a wife, she is the disciple. And it's a fabulous conversation. And so many things that he talks about. In that only, the famous mantra comes. If you have looked into our YouTube thumbnails, particularly from Kenopanishad, and continuing into Ishavasya Upanishad now, a standard design is what we try to maintain. In that design, there is a Sanskrit quotation on the top which says, Atma va are drashtavyaha, Shrotravyo mantavyo nididhyāsitavyo. He is continuing in that. That portion only we have taken and put. So, Atma va are drashtavyaha, Shrotravyaha mantavyaha nididhyāsitavyaha. Atma va are drashtavyaha means, oh Maitreyi, this Atma, this self needs to be perceived, seen. Obviously, we all know that Atma is beyond all perception, beyond all sight. But when he says seen, what it means is it needs to be realized. It needs to be personally experienced. Of course, experience is again a word, but there's no other word. It's beyond experience. It has to be sort of, you have to transform yourself into Atma to know what it is. So, Drashtavya. And for which the methodology he gives is Shrotravyaha, Mantavyaha, Nididhyāsitavyaha. Sravaṇa, Manana and Nididhyāsana. This is where it is derived from. Vedanta proclaims that root cause of all our problem is ignorance. And the only solution for ignorance is gaining knowledge. There is no other way. You can try to, for a darkness that is there, you can try to do various other things. You can try, you cannot do it with a broomstick. You cannot do it with any other thing. Unless otherwise you bring in the light. And however great the darkness, however dense the darkness is, however long the darkness is, the moment the light flashes in, it instantly vanishes away. So, Vedanta ultimately proclaims all the problems that you face in the world is basically ignorance. Ignorance of your original nature, and there is no other cure for this except bringing the knowledge of the self. Knowledge of the self dispels this ignorance instantly. At the present level that we are now, knowledge is actually, the ignorance is manifesting in three distinct stages. So, the first stage is that I don't know. I don't know what you are talking about. I don't know the Shastras. I don't know what the teacher is intending to say. I have no clue whatsoever what it is. So, this phase of ignorance is tackled by Sravaṇa. Sravaṇa means listening. The ideal way to gain knowledge is to listen. That is why in the set pattern of e-learning now, Swamiji is recommending that you just merely listen You need not even take notes. Just listen and absorb, because it's going to get repeated again and again. Of course, reading is one thing that is possible now, particularly after everything is now easily available in print. Of course, now it is there in the internet and other thing. We can include reading also, but there is no equivalent to listening from the master directly. With all your concentration and attention, what he speaks, of course, what he speaks is the Shastras, what he speaks is the truth that is there in the Shastras, and it is coming through that equipment which is immersed in it, and it is coming from the depth of his experience also. It has that power. So he is giving you the knowledge. The first phase of ignorance is taken care of by this Sravaṇa. So, okay, you are listening to this talk, or you are listening to a Upanishad class, you are listening to a Vedanta treatise class, or anger management, certain, okay, attachment, love, various things that we are talking about. All these, remember, that which is worth hearing is what the great masters have said, the Shastras that have said. Because in terms of understanding the knowledge of the self, the master, however much he is living in the experience, he is going to only quote what his predecessors have said. And that is the essential Shastras itself. So that is worth actually listening to. They are containing the highest truths, which have stood over the test of time. So whether we read Bhagavad Gita, whether we read Atma Bodha and various texts, all these are containing the same truths at different levels, for different adhikaris, all that can be there. But you listen to that knowledge from the master. And then comes the most important aspect, which is what is the subject for the day, which is you listen now. These are words, and these are words which you know meaning also. But still, you are not able to understand what it really says. So the second phase of ignorance manifests itself as I don't understand. We recently studied neutralization or sense control, in which the statement is made that abstinence is pleasure. Abstinence is pleasure. So you know what abstinence is, you know what pleasure is, but abstinence is pleasure is a very deep statement. Or way to gain anything is to lose it. Fabulous statement by Swami Ramathiru. Intense work is rest. You know all these words. It is not difficult to understand the word meaning of it. But what it is really trying to convey. This is what is the important phase of removal of ignorance. Because whatever we hear as an external knowledge has to get converted into internal wisdom. And the process for doing this is called as reflection. Reflection is the process by which you are able to convert the external knowledge into internal wisdom. See, any knowledge for that matter should not remain just at the theoretical level. It must be there at the practical level. So that is why Ramathiru and other great masters, they say that you have to approach Vedanta also like a practical science. When you learn something in chemistry, in physics, you learn it from the master in the classroom, and then subsequently or simultaneously you are asked to experiment that in the laboratory to understand it. See, tomorrow is Teachers' Day, so we will be circulating an article on liberal education, one aspect of liberal education, which is to connect with the role of a teacher tomorrow. Of course, Guru Purnima is the main Teachers' Day, but we are also celebrating Sri Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan's birthday. So, so that article we will be circulating tomorrow. In that, we have brought in the context of Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. He is talking about his primary school teacher or secondary school teacher, Shiva Subramania in Rameshwaram, where he was studying. he was explaining about the principle of flight, maybe how the birds fly, what is the Bernoulli's principle, whatever it is there. And very patiently asked the students if they understood, and all of them said no. Most of them said no. He was not upset. So that evening after the school, he called everyone and took them to the beach there in Rameswaram, and he showed exactly how the birds were flying and what he was trying to explain in the class for them to observe and see. This is one method of teaching. And that not only made them understand better what the concept was, it also ignited the spirit in Abdul Kalam to become a rocket scientist. And a great role that the teacher had played in his life. It is this. So any knowledge is actually internally gained, and so the knowledge should not just stop here at the theoretical level. It should get converted at the practical level. And here we are talking about self-knowledge, which is talking about our day-to-day life. How we need to, because nothing in the world is in our control and we can change. All that we can put in effort is to change ourselves. We change our thought pattern, we change our emotions for better, our actions, our experiences. Everything needs to be changed, and that change has to come from a deep conviction, deep structure of thought flow, because whatever is our character, our habit, all that is formed right from the young age is because of a groove that is formed in our brains, right? It is a habit, it is a character, it is what is getting reflected in our activities. If you want to, okay, certain things may be conducive, certain things may not be good, and our character is based on that. If you have understood and if you want to change that also, having become a habit, it is very difficult to change. So the change has to start occurring at the thought level. It is difficult, but it has to start there only. For that to happen there, you need to put in strong thought currents there based on sound reason and logic. The mind will resist any change, particularly when it has got into a groove. The intellect has to pull the mind along, and the intellect can do it only when it is rooted in a strong conviction, and that can come only when you are firmly convinced about it by reason and logic, by the science behind it. And that is why we are asked to approach the Vedantic study also scientifically. Of course, there is devotion, there is feeling, there is emotional connection, all that is very important. But question, think. So it is this thinking process that is, so the theorems are not going to change whether you like it or not, whether you agree with it or not. See, law of gravity is law of gravity. It is for you to understand it and internalize it. Okay. No, I don't agree with it. It is okay, whether you agree or not, law is going to function. And you will probably learn when you fall from somewhere and break your bones. But better to understand how that law. Even instinctively, you may align yourself with law and function. See, a monkey which is holding on to the mother, a young monkey which is holding on to the mother monkey, when the mother is jumping from one branch to other, unconsciously knows about the law of gravity. So it will not leave. It knows it will fall down, and what will happen if it falls down. A monkey may not know even the existence of law of gravity in theorem, but it knows internally, right? Exactly like that, you may be aligned with certain laws and certain things may happen in your life based on that. But Vedanta says it is better that if you are able to understand and internalize the laws, so that it becomes strongly founded and established. Even if you are deviating somewhere, it will bring you back. So it is not a mechanical, routine, mundane life that you will lead, a conscious principle life that we will lead. Not only that, once you get firmly founded in these laws by your thinking and establishment, it will help you to have firm faith and conviction about the other laws which you have not understood now, and you will give it more weightage for you to learn, reflect, think and practice that also. So for it to come into practice, because many people who genuinely take up Vedanta also, we have known some of our class members also here, they say All this is very easily explained and understood also, because it's not a rocket science that we are talking about. Of course, when you come to part C, illusion, we are going to see in this Sunday class also, intrinsic, extrinsic illusion, that you know, okay, we need to put in hard effort to understand what it is. Again, that is also not just theoretical, but that requires. But to make our life better, when we talk about anger management, or when we talk about how to whatever, time management and value systems, certain things, education, these are to be applied by everybody at whatever levels that we are, and it is not very difficult. But still they say, having attended the Vedanta classes, having been doing e-learning also, still I am shouting at people. And not only that, others in the house will also add fire to the fuel to this fire. They'll say, oh, you are attending Vedanta class, you are still shouting. They will also poke in, and all these things will discourage a person. Then he will say, I have learnt enough. Now I need to, bring it into practice. Then rest of the things we will see later. This may outwardly seem as a very sound argument, but it is not so. For you to get something into practice, what you need to understand is, once a paradigm shift happens in your system inside, your actions and the practice at the level of your physical actions is automatically going to follow. Even as you are putting in an effort to go through the thought process, change, gain the knowledge, perceptibly it may not be visible, but slowly but surely certain things are happening within our system, because it is based on the law of cause and effect. Nothing in the energy level will go waste. It is all depending on our past bulk of stock that we have and the present effort that we put. All this plays a role, but we need not be result oriented and worry about it. We need to just put in the effort. For putting in the effort, a continuous practice of knowledge at the intellect level is very important. So reflection is very important on a daily basis, continual basis, for which Sravaṇa is also very important. Therefore, never ever leave this process of reflection. It is going to only strengthen your intellect. And don't bother about I am not able to practice, because all this is again a sort of a ego which comes into a result orientation, and it is going to hamper. Be objective, put in the best of your effort and try to do it, because when you are saturated with certain thoughts, it will be inspiringly coming out in action sooner or later. So your solution lies in holding on to the time-tested method of changing the thought process. All over the world, wherever motivational speakers, workshops and seminars are conducted, they are talking about only changing of thought process. They are talking about changing of attitude. They are talking about various things that you need to change your character, become better, and various books are also written. But essentially, it is this. What is the method? What is the methodology? It has to boil down to your self-effort in reflection. The books can guide you. The masters can give us knowledge. Various things can be said, and there are certain amount of study that we need to do. But beyond a point, you should not go into extreme lengths of study. Book after book after book, you need not study. Just take even Vedanta into consideration. Even if you want to know the titles of the book, I am not talking about the content, just the titles of the book in Vedanta alone, one lifetime is not enough. So where are we going to study? And then we say, Robin Sharma said this, he is also saying the same thing, or some other, whoever it is, Stephen Covey. So many books that we study, it helps us to only remain at the surface level. A ship which is going into the ocean and you are wanting to collect pearls from the ocean, it is some distance you need to travel, but you need not keep on traveling in all directions in all over the world. You need to go at some distance, then then sort of anchor the ship there and go into the depth. At some level you will get some fish, at deeper level you will get better fish, and at the bottom you will get the pearls also. That is what you have started the journey for. So why is it difficult is only because mind, it needs hard effort. Intellectual tiredness sets in, fatigue sets in. So therefore, just as even if you want to watch one program in the TV, you need some sort of effort without changing the channels, because mind needs variety there. When it comes to gaining this knowledge also, mind needs variety. What are we going to talk about? The same self again and again, and Bhagavad Gita, after the essential knowledge in same, every chapter in different angles, Krishna is talking again and again the same thing. Nothing else to say. What else? Okay, what else to read now? Can we go into Ramayana? Can we go into Mahabharata? Can we go into Bhagavatam? Can we go into various other Vedantic literature? Not only that, can we go into other books? This is, in a way, it is a mind that is playing tricks in you. I am not saying it is right or wrong, please. Everybody has to operate at their level, and if you are not motivated or strong enough, the mind will definitely deviate. But we need to put in the effort. That is why the whole idea, when wanting to gain the knowledge of the self, is to bring in that focus. To bring in that focus, we need to bring in the focus in terms of what we study also, and that is where it comes from. So you need to get into the depth of the knowledge that is going to transform the personality more. Rather, okay, if you are going to be in this field, if you are going to study, research and write books, or then obviously beyond a point you have to gain more knowledge also. But majority of the people are not going to do that. You need to apply this knowledge in whichever field of activity that you need to be in. For such a person, you need not cover all the entire literature that is available in Vedanta. You need to, that is why from our experience we can say, in the modern context, in the present situation that is there, and in the language that we can understand, books authored by our Swami Parthasarathy I am talking about, forms a very good base. E-learning is a very good base. You have the fall of human intellect, the holocaust of attachment. Then for the governing business and relationships, for those who are in the corporate, Vedanta treatise. Poems and the Vedanta treatise. Then go into the Bhajagovindam, Atma Bodha, Gita and Upanishads. More than enough. More than enough. This is covered in 3 years actually. Even Vedanta treatise, one book is enough. Like that it is. Once you get into the depth and you are able to see certain pictures there, you are able to visualize certain things there, only then you will be able to even relate to other books also. Without gaining the depth, if you go merely for the length, it can result in 2 things. You will be confused. One book is saying that, one book is saying that. Without the depth of understanding, you will be absolutely, or even in Puranas, our own Puranas, Vishnu Purana is saying Vishnu is great, some other Purana is saying Shiva is great, some is saying Vinayaka is great. Who is great? Which God is great? We will not be able to understand unless you understand what is the depth of what this really represents. And that is also given for a different purpose. So too much of studies without the fundamentals clear is going to result in confusion. Second, it will result in arrogance. I know this. I know Bhagavad Gita. I can answer any question. I can do anything like this. This sort of because we launch into the spiritual path to get rid of our ego, to dissolve our ego. And without our wanting, unconsciously, what will prop up is this ego. And that ego that we gain here is very dangerous than even the normal ego that a person will have in the worldly level. Ishavasya, we are going to cover that. Mantra 9 talks about it. Fabulous mantra. It says, a person who is pursuing the world is in blinding darkness. A person who is reveling in spiritual practice is in greater darkness, it says. Oh, fabulous mantra. We'll get to that. So it will result in these 2 things. It will result in arrogance. It will result in confusion. And that is not the purpose of study. Then you would, at one point, you would have been better, it is said, I was better off before getting into this. Like that, a state will come. It should not come. In one of the slokas in praise of Lord Kartikeya in Tamil, it is called as Skanda Guru Kavacham. Skanda Guru Kavacham, Skanda or Lord Kartikeya is the Guru, and based on which Kavacham is protection. He is protecting us actually. So that shloka serves as a Kavacham. In that one verse, he says, Tattva Kuppayai Marandida Cheduva. Tattva Kuppayai means the garbage of all the philosophy, please make me forget. Because if that is going to make me not reach your feet, I don't want it. And that is not the purpose. That is why we said Tirukural and other Shastras very clearly say that knowledge is worth pursuing, which is, or rather he is asking, what is the use of any knowledge to you if it is not going to take you to that self ultimately. So when we are going to develop more ego, we are actually moving away from the self. So therefore, we are not against, because reading is a very good habit. Most of us don't read, and after school and college, we only read magazines and newspapers, which is not recommended. Reading is a good habit, but when you are wanting to have a serious development of intellect, read certain things and have a depth in the understanding that is going to serve us more. So, what is this? And then comes, we don't have, our subject today is not Nididhyāsana, but the third stage of ignorance is when you say, now I have understood, I have no doubts, everything is clear, but I have not experienced the self. It is, that aspect is lacking. Now there is no doubts or anything like that. You are very crystal clear and you are probably moving along smoothly, yet that positive yearning of wanting to realize the self is there, that is not there. And that is where Nididhyāsana and meditation. Nididhyāsana is a broader term which culminates in meditation. As we said, we may not have time to go through it now. These are the three, and there are scriptures which are meant for Sravaṇa, there are scriptures which are meant for Manana, there are scriptures which are meant for Nididhyāsana. And Nididhyāsana oriented scriptures are very far and few in comparison to the other two. Let's say Upanishad is a Sravana oriented scripture. You listen to Upanishads, you listen to Bhagavad Gita. These are plenty are there. Commentaries of great masters and other things, and there are various other texts also, Tattva Bodha like texts, they help you in reflection. So many texts are there for reflection also. Very rare are texts that are meant for Nididhyāsana, and these are not texts that are used in the same way as reflection. The purpose itself is different. Nididhyāsana brings out the three-dimensional picture which was earlier a two-dimensional understanding for you. That is the process of Nididhyāsana. Okay, we need to be worried about Sravana and Manana only now. Let us be very clear about it. Once you reach a state which is at a higher level, then Nididhyāsana automatically sets in there. Now, what are the process involved in reflection? Of course, first and foremost thing, whatever be the process, we have dealt with this recently, so I am not going into detail. Using the sattvic time is important. Sattvic time is meant for reflection. Any spiritual activity for that matter, but your intellect is popping up at that point of time. The natural sattva in you is coming. Whatever be the sattva percentage in you, 10%, 50%, 40%, that is going to automatically come. The time is also very conducive for reflection. You see the calmness of the atmosphere around you also. That is the time that you need to use for reflection. Rajasic and tamasic time, automatically you will be activity oriented and other things that will preoccupy yourself. So it will not naturally come. So try to utilize the early morning hours as much as possible. There is no sort of compromise on this. There is no substitute also for this. So our lifestyle has to change in such a way that 2 hours before sunrise, if your lifestyle is not permitting that, of course don't fall off to sleep during the day, at least 1 hour before sunrise or as close to it as possible. Spend the first to start with 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, it's all okay. Not more than 45 minutes to 1 hour. Not more than this at all at any stage, because it's what we are talking about is a heavy stuff of Vedanta and the capacity of the person to reflect also. So not more than that at any stage. Utilize the early morning time. What are the ways in which we need to do? First and foremost thing is thinking. Reflection by definition is to throw light upon. So all the ideas that are given is like a placing an object in the middle of the room. If you want to understand the object, you need to throw light upon it. So if you throw the light from one angle, one side of the object is known to you. If you want to know the full picture, you need to throw light from different angles. And that is what is going to reveal. So think why it is said. Ask questions. Do not take anything for granted. Even as simple as a theorem that you have heard it many times, like petrol in a car example also, think about it. What is I'll give you just for an example. What is the difference, essential difference between the first point and third point there? You need to think about it. So think, and that is where you are exercising your intellectual muscles, as it were. Body, when you use it more, it becomes strong. Intellect also, when you use it more, it is strong. This is called as original thinking. Original thinking does not mean that you think something very original which nobody has thought of before. Not possible. In this field, everything is thought of and it is laid out for us in the Shastras. But it is very inspiring and very important that you think originally on it. You must get that eureka moment. Wow! That the truth should reveal in you like that. And that comes through thinking. And there will be various questions, various doubts. Never discard anything. Try to consolidate everything. Think about it. The discipline in thinking is reflection. In the early morning, and this is what is recommended in Vedanta Academy also. That is why we don't cover so much portion in the 3 years like other ashrams cover, because there is enough time given for us to think, write exams and other things like that. We are trying to solve a jigsaw puzzle. Jigsaw puzzle has various pieces and maybe 100 pieces are there, let's say 10 by 10, okay, 100 pieces are there and it is all jumbled up now. You need to get that full picture. So in order to get the full picture, it is very confusing. You do not know where to start. It is recommended that you start with the edge pieces, the corner pieces first, and then the pieces which are having edge, because that has a straight line in it. It is easy to identify. Then it gives a boundary also for you to operate. Then the other piece, when you take, you will see and keep it closer to it or nearer to it. You cannot keep a piece for long and think, if this is not fitting, keep it for the moment and then concentrate on other piece. As you build the little blocks here and there more, the rest of the pieces fall into the places even more easily. Initially, it will be very difficult. This is exactly how the reflection is also there. Various concepts, various things are there. We get very confused where to start, how to start. There are certain parameters which are boundary things for this. Body, mind, intellect. Atma is self plus body, mind, intellect is individual. Like this fundamental. So the great masters like Shankaracharya in his time, Ramatirtha and our Swamiji and various other people, what they have done is, they have brought that knowledge in a way that is assimilable for us at our level. So that forms the fundamental basic blocks that you take and try to reflect on it, think about it, and these things are getting fixed in your mind, in your system. These are sort of immovable and it forms a what to say, a parameter within which you will operate. And then you take up some concept. When you are taking some concept, do not worry about the connection of this piece with the other piece there. When you keep it there, the connection will be always there. Take up that piece and only concentrate on that piece. Exactly like that. If you take up a concept of neutralization, just work with that concept. If you take up a concept of blinding darkness, work with that concept. Do not bring in dream from somewhere. Do not bring in Maya from somewhere. Do not bring in then how it is that, then what is that. Some words may connect here or there, but that is where the discipline in thinking comes. So you go into the depth by holding that piece and trying to fit it in there. And then you will find the picture is slowly emerging. Other pieces will automatically get connected. It is not, they are contradictory. They are supplementary and complementary. But in the initial phase, they will appear confusing. And unless confusion is there, clarity will not be there. So you need to work on that by holding that piece and keeping it in the proper place. If you are not able to solve it with the present level of intellect now, doesn't matter, shelve it. Later a time will come, you can again bring it back again. So do not delve on it beyond a period, because you have a time, you have to cover certain portions. And that is discipline and thinking. If a person wants to visit India and he wants to know about India, he lands, let us say, in Bombay. So the tourist operator asks, how much time you have? 30 days. What is your area of interest? Because India has, you can visit forest, you can visit temples, you can visit movie theaters, personalities, various other things that you can want to visit, caves, rivers, various things, festivals. So he says, let us say, he wants to visit architecture and caves or something like that. So they draw a map. What is the amount? What is the budget? What is the map? 30 days. You start from Bombay, you go to Pune and you see that, and then you go there, Karnataka, you cover Tamil Nadu, go to Orissa, go to Delhi. They form a circle by which 30th day he is back and then he leaves for his home. This is a broad method that he has to follow. As he is going first place from Bombay to Pune, somebody says, hey, have you known here? There is an important cave, Karla cave. And that is where Buddha was there. Somebody was there. You cannot afford to miss it. Suddenly you go off your track and jump there, and it could be really a fascinating cave, and you are spending 15 days there. You have missed that complete journey which you came for, which is important in the beginning. Later you can come back and see this Karla cave in detail and you can research on it also. But your main aim now is to get a full picture by going through a proper course. Like that, to gain the full picture of what Vedanta says, you are going through a proper course of study now. Be it e-learning, be it whatever be the proper course of study. Do not delve beyond the point that unless otherwise I understand this in detail, I will not go to the next. All these things will not work. Because it all depends on the present level and capacity, everything put together. So shelve it if you are not able to do it now. Proceed. So this brings in a discipline in our thinking. Also, you need to connect it with your personal experience. Because the doubts will come. The Shastra is saying that, but I am not able to see it function. But yet I will give weightage to the statement that is given in the Shastra. Like that, because unless otherwise it is connected to reflection, understanding in depth is not there. For example, even if you tell a child fire is hot, it is a scientific statement, it's a truth. But unless otherwise a child has a direct or vicarious experience of what heat is, it will not be able to understand that statement in depth. It knows fire, it knows hot, but what it is, and it is not necessary for every child to burn its fingers. You go even close to fire, you know what is the property, that is an experience. Or you see some other person getting burnt by fire, it is a vicarious experience. So it is with the experience that the thinking is also connected. So therefore, thinking has to connect with experience, and that is very important to reflect. And wherever you are not able to resolve, that question you need to bring out. And where do you bring out? That is the next level, group discussion. One of the USPs of Vedanta Academy is group discussion. Group discussion is all the angles one cannot think by himself. In a similar frequency, people, they all put in their thoughts in their angle, which you are not thought of. It is going to trigger your reflection. And there is a, what to say, there is a method for this also. In fact, we need to take this a little more in detail. We will continue in the next class. Before that, on group discussion, I am slightly deviating, and I'll just conclude with the importance of Satsaṅg here. Because group discussion is also a form of Satsaṅg. What is Satsaṅg? Satsaṅg is company of good people. This is the normal definition, and it is correct. Holy people, nice, good people you need to associate with. Bhajagovindam says, Satsangatve Nissangatva. It is from Satsang that you get detachment. The entire practice starts with Satsang. However much you may have the capacity, individual effort, everything, unless otherwise we have the grace of the Guru, unless we have the grace of the Satsang, it is not going to be very easy journey for us. Satsang can be also extended to cover all other aspects. When we talked in in self-control, we said that, what is it? If you want to stop the drainage flow within your house, first you need to put a stop for the excess flow which is going to come now. Only then you can clean your house. So you need to check the inflow of the stimuli from the external world through your senses. All the effort that you put, but if you do not maintain a conducive atmosphere, it will be self-cancelling activities. So always maintain a satsang. Why here, even in this class, there is no substitute for obviously a normal class, but given the situation now, we are doing a class across Zoom in a platform of the internet. Here also, suppose if a particular talk is available in YouTube and the particular thing we can listen together in a class like this, you must opt for listening it together, because when minds are participating here together, it is equivalent or as much as possible equivalent of a satsang. In a satsang, development of intellect is conducive and faster. We talk about headwind and tailwind when an aeroplane flies. Headwind is when plane is moving from, let's say, Bombay to Calcutta, which is from west to east, and the wind is also blowing from west to east. So the plane travels faster. If the flight is from Bombay to Calcutta, west to east, and the wind is from east to west, it is called headwind. The former is tailwind, this is called headwind. When headwind is there, there will be a lot of resistance and the flight becomes slower. The engine has the same capacity, flight speed is the same, but the speed of the wind affects it. Like that it is. Your reflection, your thinking, that's all really counts. That is the cause within you. But in a conducive atmosphere only, it will grow more. So satsang acts as a tailwind. What is, let us say, just for argument's sake, can we not, why should everybody or is recommended to go through a study like a Vedanta Academy for 3 years or any other equivalent thing for that? 3 years could be a long time for many people. Can we not do it outside? Of course, now e-learning and other things are also there, but can we not do it even by otherwise attending a class here, studying my own thing? 100% you can do. But surely, what will probably take 3 years there in terms of real development, it may take 20-30 years here. Obviously, it all depends on each person's capacity and effort also. Because in a conducive atmosphere, in a concerted effort with the satsang there and with the grace of the master and everything, the situation is created for the growth faster. So satsang is very, very important to maintain, particularly for intellectual growth. We are trying to gain the knowledge not to become scholastic masters. We are gaining the knowledge to remove the ignorance within us. And that can happen when you maintain a satsang. And we know that nowadays everybody is in a way helplessly addicted. Okay, addicted could be a strong word. Helplessly going through the virtual friendship and other contacts in social media. The family members don't have really time to speak to each other, but everybody has to have that. It is, I mean, jokingly they say that two people are traveling in the lift. So this person is asking, sir, I have seen you somewhere. Are you there in the Facebook? He said, no. Are you friend in the Facebook? No. Twitter or LinkedIn? No, I am not in all those. But I have seen you somewhere. Are you there in Instagram? He says, no. But your face seems familiar. He says, yes, sir, I am your neighbor only. So he has actually not seen the neighbor for long, but somewhere he has registered the face of the neighbor. A father, if he has to speak to the son, has to go to the next room and call on the mobile phone. Then he is ready to answer. Otherwise, face-to-face interaction is not there. Everybody is caught up in the social media. But in the topic of satsang, it is also important who you are friends with and who you are following or getting followed even in the social media. Be very careful about it. Unnecessary thought flow, unnecessary stimuli. Why do you want to the already loaded system within us? This is one aspect. Before we conclude, forget about learning anything. Forget about reading reflection. Forget about any other use also. Just be in the satsang for the sake of satsang. that itself will automatically help you. Bhagavad Gita talks about tapas. None of us have now the great intensity and the power to do the tapas. Tapas is a concerted effort to direct all your energies towards higher. That is tapas. And it is talking about threefold tapas. Tapas at the level of your body, tapas at the level of your speech, tapas at the level of your mind. These three levels tapas has to be done. Who is doing tapas? Who can afford to do tapas? We really do not know. But whether you like it or not, Satsang gives an automatic method for you where you unconsciously do tapas. For this 1 hour also, whatever we are sitting here, you hopefully, that is why sometimes we are asking the video also to be covered. You are sitting in a place, right? That's a great tapas. It's not possible. Body will not cooperate and it wants to move here and there. And I really do not know what you are doing also. But to be in one place is a tapas of the body. It doesn't easily come. But Satsang helps you to do that. So whether you understand or not, attend a kirtan, bhajan, Satsang in some form or other, because your body is sitting in a place. 1 hour. Now we will open up for questions, but at least 1 hour I hope you have not spoken. Tapas of the speech is there. And hopefully if you concentrate, tapas of the mind is also there. So when an opportunity is there for you to do the tapas, why will you want to avoid Satsang in any way? Satsang is the only way. And we will resume with the idea of group discussion in the next class and the importance of question answer also, because if not this Friday, next Friday we will also give you a point about how we can bring out questions and answers in this class also. So it will be a very interesting forum if we can generate that group discussion using the Zoom platform here also. It is going to help. If it clicks well. So we will continue with group discussion in the next class. Right. If there are any questions, you can unmute and ask.
Sir, one question. Can a Zoom platform be considered as a satsang?
I am saying in the given circumstances, when no other option is available, we have to accept the next best alternative. So in that sense, yes, it is a satsang. It's all, see, technology is like a knife only. How you use it only it matters. If we are able to use technology for a positive purpose like this, for learning new knowledge, for associating with, even why not, I'm just thinking aloud as you say now, if we do a community singing here in the form of a bhajan or something, all that amounts to really a satsang. So the technology from the comfort of where we are staying at home, we can definitely use it in the form of satsang. But obviously, coming together in a classroom and being together is a different frequency. No, I'm not comparing this one. Of course, but we can. What I'm saying is, in the present situation, we can use this to our advantage.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much. No Paramashubhyam.
Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate